Hey everyone, and welcome to the Beyond Life and Fitness podcast. I'm Cheryl Patton.
And I'm Megan Prince.
We started this podcast as a way to connect with more people who are struggling to fit it all in. The workouts, the food, kids, work, and relationships.
We know that we're not perfect, but we hope that through our struggles and our mistakes and our failures and our successes that we can help more people through their challenges and be successful. So if you want some tips and tricks to help you along your journey to be the best version of yourself, then this is it.
So I know when we have chatted with clients that are wanting to start working with a coach or with us specifically, is that it's learning and coaching them on how to control the controllables. Mm-hmm. What in your life can you easily regain control of to help you move in the direction that you want to go with your nutrition, with your training? It can apply to anything in life, really. Mm-hmm. So we have 5 different things that we're going to chat about. And the first thing, it's a big one that everybody has control over, is the food that you decide to bring into your house.
Mm-hmm. I think that's going to we all know, right? What things are going to make or break our goals, right? Yep. We just talked about my daughter saying about these cookies that she says, I just can't resist them, but they're so good. And I'm like, but that's the thing. Like, for me, it's peanut butter. So that what things do you feel like you're going to overeat, or things that you can't you can't just eat one chip, they say with Lay's, right? Is that you with chips? Then bringing them into the house, you 100% know that that's something that's going to throw you off. So not bringing that into the house is going to be huge. Yeah. Is it going to be hard? Do you have to break a habit? 100%. But we can control what food we buy, what food comes into our house.
Mm-hmm. And even if you have kids, if you have a spouse or a partner that is in the house with you, mm-hmm. Not bringing those particular highly processed foods into the house just benefits everybody.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Like, it's not like you're not there to torture your family because you've decided to improve your eating habits. Mm-hmm. You're going to teach your kids, especially if they're at a younger age, that this is what good eating looks like. This mm-hmm. is what whole food looks like. This is how we prepare our food. This is how we're going to cook our food. We just don't go onto our phone on an app mm-hmm. and just click randomly whatever we decide we feel mm-hmm. like having, and we just wait for it to magically arrive at our door.
And the funny thing about kids is that they don't really have that control of what comes in. So Correct. When they're hungry and they open up the fridge and this, and this is the option, they don't have those options to say, I have these crappy options and I know it comes to convenience with a lot of people mm-hmm. with foods. Mm-hmm. I totally get that. But also it just takes a little bit of extra time to kind of cut up vegetables or teach them to cut up their fruits and vegetables.
But even now, you can get whole foods that are convenient. Just
mm-hmm.
buy a veggie tray.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, just do that. Right? That's what you say to clients when they're like, I don't have time to prep. Buy a veggie tray.
Buy it
already cut up.
Yeah. Same with you can buy pre-cooked chicken breast strips. At Costco. You can buy pre-hard boiled eggs. You can mm-hmm. you can get the whole rotisserie chicken. There's so much convenient whole food options mm-hmm. that they are there. Mm-hmm. You're going to pay a little bit more for it rather mm-hmm. than buying just a stalk of celery that you now have to wash and cut up yourself. Mm-hmm. But the options are there. Mm-hmm. So that kind of takes that excuse out of the equation.
And it's not that it's not hard, right, to not have all these things in our house. It's hard, yeah. right? Because then the kids are like, oh, well, everything in our house I have to cook yeah. or I have to chop or I have to whatever. I'm like, but that's how food goes.
yes.
we should take pride in preparing foods and then eating them, yeah. right? Rather than it just being this quick thing that we can grab. So I think you can control what food comes in your house. Is it hard in society these days? 100%. I think that's really hard.
But that's going to be definitely one of your biggest needle movers. 100%.
If you know, a certain foods are really big triggers for you,
just keep them out.
Oh my God, do not bring them in the house. Just don't. You can't.
Yeah, because once that package gets opened, it's
done.
Game on.
Gloves off.
Yeah. And then the second thing that you can definitely control is time. Time, especially when it comes to screen time. Like, how much time are you spending on your phone scrolling? How much time are you spending watching TV? How much time are you spending on your computer? Can any of that particular time be put towards food prep, meal planning, going for a walk? Maybe actually like doing an at-home 15-minute workout. Right? And there are apps on your phone that you can use that show you how much time you are spending on certain apps.
I've done that before, and it's eye-opening too, right? And then for somebody like me who's very scheduled, and I fit my workouts in, I get my meals and that kind of stuff, but I still struggle with time management because there's times during the day where I could get a lot more shit done than I'm doing right now. And I think, oh my God, I could have done this, and this today, but I just kind of dicked around. Do you know what I mean? So we all have those times where we're doing stuff that's not, and that's where I also have to like be careful of like, you don't always have to be productive, but if there's certain things like your goals that you want to achieve, there's going to be things like that we have to sacrifice a little, not sitting on our phones, not scrolling, not getting sucked into all the really
just delaying that gratification.
Oh yeah, I was thinking about that today actually too, about canceling Netflix and getting, because we don't have cable, canceling Netflix and actually getting cable back in my house, because then they actually have to search for shows and wait for shows, because you're right, we watch these things and it's we get it, we can press play, we can watch the next one, and that is causing a lot of, I think, stress and anxiety for people, because then it's everything else in our life that is
instant gratification,
instant all the time. You can get anything you want at the drop of a hat if you just press okay, send, ship, you know, whatever.
Yes.
And it's like you never have to wait for anything. So we can totally control our time. Work, kids, activities. No, those things are harder to control. But like if I'm dropping my kid off at skating, I can head out for a walk.
Yes.
Or you can ask somebody to carpool so that you can get in a half an hour workout while they're doing their things. Or God forbid, get up early before work and go to the gym. You know what I mean? Like we can control our time, but we just have to be really intentional about what our time management.
And it's habits around time.
Oh my God. Yeah.
Right. And it's just like changing any habits around food, habits around training, habits around time. I guess it's, you're going to slip, you're going to have really bad days, and then you just correct and continue.
Right.
So the other controllable that you can control, and it ties in with time, is your schedule, and learning sometimes to say no.
Yeah.
Or, choosing what is in alignment to what you are trying to achieve. And it doesn't necessarily have to be with nutrition and training. It could be with your career. It could be with anything. And then just being really aware of things that can pop up in your schedule that can just throw you right off kilter for like weeks, sometimes months, like if so for an example, especially if you have a career that has like a really high or busy season and then a really low season. Well, if you know that that's what your career does and it's cyclical like that, and you're aware of that cycle, then start scheduling and planning for those busy times so that you just don't go MIA for 4, 5, 6 months and then get back at it for the other half of the year. Like you're just doing one step forward, one step back. Like you're just staying stagnant. Like
that's where you need a plan.
Yes.
Like I have to, when things get really, really, really hard and you're going through something hard, like I did last week, knowing the plan was kind of just the only thing that kind of felt solid, because everything else felt rocky, right?
Yep.
So just having that, like, what's my plan? What am I eating the next day? Like, when am I working out? Look at your schedule for the week and fit in those workouts. I try to get mine in the morning because sometimes my days kind of go, whatever. And the kids, something happens with the kids, blah, blah, blah. And then I can't fit that workout in. So I always try to get it in the morning, because if something's going to come up, or you can't be that flexible. You literally only have that 1 hour. And if something happens, you can't. Yeah. So then you just have to, you look at your schedule and you schedule it in. And that's an appointment with yourself.
100%.
Like, you can manage your schedule, but it's just, what things are you like willing?
What are you willing to make a priority?
Yeah. And then take out the things that aren't, which also could be like,
can be hard.
Going out with your girlfriends for dinner one night because that's the only time you can fit in your workout. You know?
Yeah.
Like,
or it might not be being on 10 different committees.
Yeah.
Right.
And
People
joining
who
all the things. Yeah. And they're like, I don't have any time. And I'm like, yeah, I'm doing 50 million thousand things. And I mean, that's me. I'm doing 50 million thousand things, but also I still make that a priority. If my eating and my workouts weren't getting done, I would totally drop something in a second. Yeah. That's not something that I'm willing to negotiate is that for myself. Yeah. It's just not possible.
And then another controllable is definitely your sleep schedule.
Unless you have a newborn.
Unless you...
Right? And you're going to... Yes, your daughter's going to have a baby soon.
Yes.
When it's based on other people,
that's a little different. Right? Yes, 100%. But when you are past that stage, everybody is sleeping through the night. Nobody is sick. You know, going to bed at the same time, waking up at the same time, making sure that your room is cool, making sure your room is dark, staying off of screens or wearing like blue blocking glasses if you happen to be watching TV or on your phone or on a computer or like shortly before you go to bed, you know, or finding ways to unwind, whether it's reading a book, whether it's having a hot bath, whether it's if you have access to a hot tub or a sauna, maybe you'll pop into one of those before you crawl into bed just to help the body and the mind rewind. But figuring out some type of a schedule so that you can get your sleep in order so that you're not craving sugar. So that,
oh my God, I know.
So that, you know, you are recovering, that your muscles are recovering from your workouts. You've got energy when you wake up the next morning. And I find that, you know, sleep is right up there with what food you decide to bring into the house. It is top. I'm
friggin' starving on days I don't get sleep. Like, I just feel like, I just feel so off. Like, I'm like, oh my God, I can't satiate this hunger because you're just like craving just because your body's
looking for food, looking for energy.
Yeah, looking for energy. It's like, I need some energy from here, right?
Yeah. And of course it doesn't crave protein.
Yeah, I don't know. It's not going to at all. But yeah, I think that sleep is like a huge one that you can control if you can, right? I mean, it's obvious like some things are going to disrupt our sleep when we can. And I also heard that if you set your alarm or if your body wakes up naturally, say 6:45, and then you're like, oh, I'm not getting in bed, like half an hour, 45 minutes, you actually screw up your sleep cycles because your body woke you up at that time, right? So you screw it up. So you just gotta get out of bed at that time, even though you don't want to, right? Yeah. I used to train at 5 a.m. and before I had kids, and I loved that. And my body would just naturally get up and do that. But now I'm like, oh my gosh, it would take me a month or so to change that sleep cycle. Because don't they say with babies, like if you're changing their sleep schedule, you only can push it 15 minutes.
It could be I'm not 100% sure, but yeah.
You can't just be like, oh, we're changing your nap from 9:30 to 11 today.
Right. Which would make sense because when you think of when the times change, like when they fall back and when they spring forward. Yeah. Like I remember when the kids were young, like it could have taken up to a week for them to get back onto their schedule. So that does not surprise me.
Yeah. Yeah. So sleep, try to go to bed at the same time if you can within the same half an hour or so. Yep. And then set your alarm for that time and then get out of bed.
Yeah. And then the last controllable is definitely everybody can drink water. Everybody has access to a water bottle of some way, shape, or form. Get in your 2, 3, up to 4 liters of water a day, depending, again, is it hot outside? Is it hot where you work? You know, are you active? Are you sedentary? But anyways, get your water.
We're lucky we live in a country that we have fresh water just from a tap that you turn on. Yep. So like saying you can't get your water and water's everywhere. Yep. So water is, yes, is it hard for people? 100%. But it's something we can control and it's easy. It's not something that takes time, money.
Yep.
Anytime. Like you just do that in your day, even if you're super busy.
Yep. Well, again, like all of these are free. Like you have to buy groceries, right? So that's that. But how you tend to spend time on your screen, again, that's a free habit to fix. How you manage your schedule, your sleep, your water. Like it's all about just getting into that. It's just making that intentional choice to make these controllables under control.
Over and over and over and over again, right? And when I was on a walk with my daughter the other night, and she's doing this, getting up at 7 a.m., doing a devotional, going for a walk with me for 20 minutes, eating a healthy breakfast with protein, drinking her greens. She's doing all these things. And then she got an elbow injury. And she says to me, well, I'm doing all of these things and I'm still getting injuries. And I'll go, honey, but all the stuff that you're doing right now is amazing for what it's going to set you up for in your life. Are you not going to get injuries? No.
We still get injuries.
Is something traumatic not going to happen to you? No. Are you going to lose somebody in your life? All these things are going to happen. But when you have these habits in place, when all of those things around you happen, those are going to be the things that you can go to
keep you grounded.
So I was like, no, just because you're doing all this stuff doesn't mean you'll be injury free. Doesn't mean life's not going to throw you obstacles. It's going to do all those. But you're right. You get to be grounded in what choices we get to control. And those are controllables that we can, but they're not.
And I think too, like when life does throw you a really nasty curveball, having those habits of moving your body and just, naturally fueling your body with as whole food as possible I believe is what keeps you sane.
And it just holds you together. It grounds you. It makes you feel like there's still life, right?
Yes.
Like I still have to keep moving. My blood's still flowing. My heart's still beating. Just like to realize that these things are still happening while you're trying to just be at home and, grieve, or if you're having a hard time, just shut down. It's not going to help, right? Because you need to have, we just have to recognize that life still goes on, but we can be grounded in those things that we can control.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that is the perfect way to end.
Thanks everybody for listening today, and we truly appreciate you. And let us know what your biggest takeaway was today, and if you have any questions you want answered on the podcast. Don't forget to rate, review, and subscribe to this podcast to automatically receive your episodes and to help us reach more listeners. We would love to connect with you on our socials, either Facebook or Instagram, with links in the show notes. Till next time, keep taking those small steps towards your best life.